Welcome. Hello, everybody. Beside COVID-19, one of the hottest topic around is cryptocurrency. Is the price going up? Is the price coming down? My name is Richard Tan from Success Resources. We are the world leading education provider. Every week, we will be making videos talking about cryptocurrency. So if this is a topic that is of interest to you, do remember to subscribe, tap on the notification so that you will be the first to know about the information and content. Once again, we are very fortunate to have my friend and a very authority, right? Strong authority in financial market, as well as a teacher to many thousands of people around the world. Right here, let's welcome Dr. Clemen Chiang.
Hello, Richard and everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are so excited and I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Richard, for having me. Yeah, how's your day, Richard?
Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And today is first day of the week. And with our program, you will be able to receive up-to-date news so that you can decide what to do. So that, this week will be a very profitable and fruitful week for each and every one of you. Now, for many of you who have been logging on and participating in the video, you have experienced that many data, right, and opinion right in this video are very useful for you to make decision in your investment in cryptocurrency. Okay, my first question to Dr. Clemen here. Now, one of the support level of Bitcoin is around 30,000. So far, Bitcoin has refused to go below 30,000 this couple of days. Bitcoin price is still now at 34,000. Now, one of a very big fund manager, right? His company managed about 270 billion of asset. His name is Scott Manex. Scott Manex is a chief investment officer of a company called Clemen, right? That manage in excess of 270 billion under company management. So last week, he predicted that Bitcoin price will go down to 10,000. And this is the second prediction. The first prediction, he says that Bitcoin price will go down to 15,000. And then he even predict even more bearish, right? He given a bearish prediction that it will go down to 10,000. Now, he is also the one that predict that Bitcoin price will rebound back to 400 to 500,000. Now, Dr. Clemen, the question for you is, what do you make of all these noises in the market, and what should ordinary investor do, and how do we respond?
Wow. Richard, that's a great and awesome question. We will always start off with by looking at the charts. And I'm right now going to switch over, and we have highlighted to all of our viewers that we are always kind of trading in this very interesting range, and that is the 40 and 30,000 range. And with regards to what you highlighted, Richard, and that's none other than from Scott Manex right here. He is saying that you're going to go as low as 15,000. Now, there's a basis for that. It's not calling the numbers from the air. And I'm going to explain to our viewers how does he arrive at a basis from 15,000. In fact, he's already talking about 10 to 15,000, as all of us can see right over here in this box. All right, this is a really important way of thinking about the prices right now, because we need to trace back what is the thesis. So I'm going to take this number and I'm going to show our audience right here how do we kind of reverse engineer what Scott has given us on the prediction and come back right to here, right? So we are looking at 1 day candle. And again, we always go right back to the period of time at the beginning of 2021. And then I kind of plot out the important points right here. All right, here we go. We're going to start off from here. Let me just set this up. And here we go. 40,000, this is the range. And 30,000, this is the range. First box. And then one more time, 40,000, this is the range. And 30,000, this is the range. All right. Now, the point about 15,000 is somewhere around here. Okay. Now, I plot out horizontally, but I'm going to show you how to identify this $15,000 and the $10,000 range. All right. So here we go. I'm going to start moving to the point where you see there's a big breakaway at the 15,000 range. And that candle we are looking at is right here. This is the candle that we are looking at right here. The 15,000 big, huge candle right here. All right. And just keep watching that candle. And I come right to the exact spot right here. There you go. This is the $15,000 candle. One big long candle that kind of a spike up and maintain that position. And that's how we, as a Bitcoin traders in the market, we study the candles this way. This is called a breakaway long, beautiful, vertical, standing full candle. And that's the 15,000. Then he came back with the 10 to 12,000 range. And then I kind of slowly move. Again, look to the extreme right-hand side. Bang! Aha! This is the 10 to $12,000 candle range. Again, it's a long, beautiful green candle, like a rocket firing up. And there you go. So with this in mind, for whatever the experts out there in the market are talking about, there's always a basis. And there's nothing wrong about that. So how do we react to this question raised by Richard? Now, I always think about nice round number. And for us here, especially among the Chinese traders, we always like to look for beautiful 888. All right. So I'm looking at 12,888 as one of the test price for the event. It breaks below 15,000. But before it drops to 12,888, I need to highlight to all of our viewers that it cannot just drop to 12,888 overnight. Not possible, right? So for it to drop to that level, it must go past what? 2,888. That's the 28,888 point. That will be the first test. Then it goes down further to the 25,000. That's the second test. And 25,000 divided by 2, that will be 12,888. That's the third test. And then we go back to the Bitcoin halving price. That will be the 8888. That is the fourth test. So as you can see, just as long as you keep in mind all these price levels, it's really, really easy to remember. And you know what? We hang out for the ride. Back to you, Richard.
Okay, Dr. Clemen, but Mr. Scott also mentioned that the price will eventually bounce to 400 to 500,000. I mean, it's a huge range. So he predicted that it will go down, but it will also bounce back to 400 to 500,000. So can you please comment on that too?
Yes, this is really, really, really nice triangulation that Richard has keep reminding us about it. You see, Richard right now is taking the lead to kind of understand what the giants of the world are understanding about Bitcoin. And then when we do cross triangulation, we are not looking at just one expert or one guru. We have to look at one, what we call pot of whales, POD. And the pot of whales from Citibank analyst, he has a prediction of 318,000 by end of this year. We have a Grayscale Trust looking at 400,000. We have Katie Woods looking at 450,000. We have right now Scott telling us 400,000. So you see, the numbers are all around that one, between $300,000 to $500,000 range. But there are only two guys that really give specific timing. First is Pantera Capital, and this is really the godfather of all ICOs in the world. And, you know, they have a very precise prediction, 115,000 by end of August this year. Then the second one that's really big is Citibank analyst, Patrick. He came out with a 318,000 by end of this year, December. So when we cross-triangulate all these numbers, once it spikes, it will just push through and spike through all these numbers that we are talking about today, from 115, 318, 400, 450, even 500,000. Now, the most optimistic of them all, none other than the Gemini twins, and they are telling us it's about 1 million per coin. So you can see how far this rocket will shoot to the moon. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you, Dr. Clemen. Well, just kind of sum up, you know, the sentiment that Right now, whatever it is, 34,000, it may, right? It may drop further to that level, the few level that Dr. Clemen is mentioning, but eventually it will still be on the uptrend because of the scarcity, because of the nature of Bitcoin. So stay tuned for more insight, right? Now, my second question to you, Dr. Clemen, is this, that last week, we talked about many funds, right? One of the funds that we kind of found out that invest in Bitcoin is the Singapore Sovereign Fund, that is Temasek Holding. Now, Temasek invests since 2018. Temasek Sovereign Fund invests in Bitcoins since 2018. Yesterday, we saw a tweet that Israel Sovereign Fund is also investing over $2 billion in Bitcoin. Now, managing sovereign fund is different from just another investment firm, right? Like Fidelity or BlackRock, etc. Sovereign fund are people's money. In Singapore, the Singapore citizen, they put in their CPF, and the government pass it to Temasek to invest. In Malaysia, we have Khazanah. In several countries, there is sovereign fund. Now, sovereign fund, managing sovereign fund is not just about profit, it's about being responsible. I guess you need to do double diligence, you need to be more careful because it is the people's money and you cannot afford to lose the people's money. So let me ask you this question. Why do you think sovereign fund invest in Bitcoin? Are they taking risk or risking the people's money, or they have other thought, Dr. Clemen?
Wow. Richard, this is a great question, and I'm going to give a 3-step thinking to connect the dots with regards to this announcement that just came out on Saturday, on the 10th of July. Israel Investment Fund Group announces multi-billion BTC investment. Now, when they say multi-billion, I mean, we kind of narrow down exactly what's the multi-billion. That's 2.3 billion, mama. That's the size. Is huge, all right? Because for every $1 billion investment, we think about Michael Saylor that broke 1 billion. We think about Elon Musk that broke 1 billion. Now, 3 steps, 3 things that we will be able to connect the dots, and we kind of formulated this thesis, and it's kind of right now coming to pass. Step 1, the governments of the world, before they do anything, they will implement step 1 called seizure. Seizure means confiscate of Bitcoins. This has started last year, November, by the FBI. They confiscated about $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. 6 weeks later, China did the same. They seized 4 times of the Bitcoin, 4 billion plus. For whatever reason, whether they claim it as a Ponzi, MLM, or whatever reasons, all right? So step 1, you always see seizure by the governments. And they have a name list that they go down from the top guy, and strike it out, all right? Take over the coins first, step 1. As we know at step 1, if something is not valuable, why you waste your bloody time and resource to go after the seizure? So step 1 is proven. Step 2, what are they going to do? They're going to implement regulation. They'll say, oh, you're not legal in my country. I'm going to impose fine on you. I'm going to bring forward a criminal charge against you. And this is what's happening right now to the world of Binance. The governments of the world are going after Binance because they know Binance is the richest and the largest of them all. So it's only worth a while provided you go after the big guy first. So step 2 has happened. And step 1 leading to step 2 will lead us to step 3. Why they are doing this? Because the country right now is in a mad race to own Bitcoin. Wow. Every country right now think of Bitcoin as a fixed supply, 21 million, and the country that will dominate the world is the one that has the highest number of Bitcoin. So it is no longer a race among Bitcoin whales like us, but it's no longer a race among the institutions out there, but it's right now a race by countries of the world. This is really important. And, just like yesterday, I was so inspired, Richard, I saw your brother on TV. There's Richard Branson. He went on the space flight, right? And this is right now shaking up governments of the world to create new regulations for space exploration. The private sector will always be ahead of the government sector. And this is exact the same parallel for Bitcoin. We are so ahead of the governments. The government are scratching their head how to implement regulation. But before they start solving this problem, the sovereign wealth fund will go out there and buy first. Buy low, sell high, make money. Back to you, Richard.
Okay. Well, when sovereign funds put money into Bitcoin, it is not a simple decision, right? Because they represent the government, they represent the people's money. So if they have done their due diligence, if they have done their fair share of research, etc., if they put their money in Bitcoin, it gives some positive, right? Positive indication, because these people has information that maybe you and I cannot have, right? So thank you, Dr. Clemen, for the insight. Now, third question for you, Dr. Clemen, is that last month, we have a big news in the crypto market that El Salvador decide to make Bitcoin a legal tender of the country. And they are not alone. Another country, Paraguay, is to present Bitcoin bill on the 14th of July. Now, let me see. It's only 2 days from now. Now, it's a country. It's not another company. It's not another bank. It's not another investment fund. It's not anybody, but it's a whole country, right? What do you think is the impact of Bitcoin price in the long run when countries begin to recognize and support Bitcoin?
Wow, this is huge. You know, we spoke about this, Richard, in previous weeks of our video presentation. El Salvador kick off the very first country, what we call legal tender on Bitcoin. And right now, with the latest news just coming out on the 10th of July, Paraguay is right now the second country to propose to pass this bill on 14th of July. Now, this is the start, the really, really great start of the domino effect, or we call it the ripple effect of the country's race to legalize Bitcoin. Why? First of all, let's look at these countries. From El Salvador to Paraguay, they realize that they are highly disadvantaged unless they make it affordable for their people or their citizens to accept Bitcoin as a legal tender. And this effect will spread really like wildfire, all right? And it started from El Salvador to Paraguay. We're going to see more and more countries install right now. And the reasons, there are three. Number one, by making it legal tender, they are right now taking on the first mover advantage against developed and developing countries. They say, I want to go out there first. And you know, the consequence of number one is that they'll attract the whales of the world flooding to their country first. And this is really important. And they thereby able to bring down the number two, the cost of remittance. Many of these countries, they are paying a high price just to move money between borders. And their people are working overseas. They want to send money back, but they are charged a hefty fee. And thereby the government is thinking, why don't we legalize Bitcoin? They can move the money. At the same time, they can enjoy the appreciation of the price of Bitcoin itself. And finally, the third point is that they want to be a magnet to attract all the big players out there who are looking for flights to heaven. Because right now, cryptocurrency seems to be under fire from different corners of the world. This has always been the history. But any country that goes out there with a clear message, I accept you as a legal tender, and thereby I will become your safe haven. And that's the reason why this is a big news coming on and kicking start the domino effect. Back to you, Richard.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Clemen. Wow, when countries get decided to adopt Bitcoin, it added a lot of users. I don't know what's the population of Paraguay, Dr. Clemen, do you know? 5 million.
Wow, we can do a quick search on that. And you know, this is a really great thinking. And I'm just going to pull out this number right now. Wow, we are looking at 7 million population, kind of close to Singapore right here. We are 69, they are 70. So it's always start off like this. And this is a great start, all right? And that's the reason why it's important to us.
Wow, 7 million, bigger than Singapore. It means that there will be many millions of people having a Bitcoin wallet and adopting Bitcoin. And when the number of people that has Bitcoin wallet or begin to adopt Bitcoin as one of their saving segment, if inevitably it will also drive the price of Bitcoin, right? Now, I can't help but to ask Dr. Clemen just one question. I know that we've touched this a couple of times, but I like to bring this question up again. Now, recently I came across a very old 2017 CNBC news. Now, in that news, in the 2017 news, China announced it was to close all crypto exchange in the country. Now, this led to many crypto exchange moving out of the country, Japan, Singapore, and other part of the world like US, etc. Now, after the news came out, that particular news in September of 2017 came out, Bitcoin price dropped. And eventually, it moved up again, slowly again, and even achieved several all-time highs. Now, this time round, China again is doing its round, right? They announced banning of Bitcoin mining and shut down 90% of China Bitcoin mining. So the Bitcoin price after this news actually dropped from 64,000 to 30,000. Now, China miners moved out of China to other part of the world, and especially in the US. And it's very, very similar to what happened in 2017. Exactly. If you take the same news, change 2017 to 2021, it looks like the same news. So Dr. Clemen, what do you think of this similarity, and what should we do?
Wow. This is a really pointed question. We go back to the history, what we call the winter season of Bitcoin. And it all started because the Chinese announced a ban on crypto exchanges. And that was the really breakthrough period for Binance, because all the Chinese crypto exchanges shut down. And then Binance is the only guy that say, hey, you can't touch me, I hold a Canadian passport. And then all the users flocked over to Binance and became number one today. Now let's take a look at the chart back then of 2017. We are looking right now in the year 2017. It's a really important chart. I just kind of formulate to the thinking, all right? So step one, we are looking right here, 2017. All things were doing really fine from 1,000, kind of a spike up to 2,000, 3,000, this range, all right? And suddenly, in the month of September, October, the big ban came about. China announced the ban. And you can see price of Bitcoin collapsed from 5,000, drop and start to move sideways. And then what was that period? That period was only from September all the way to October, about 6 weeks period. All right. Once we go through the thunderstorm and the crypto exchanges reorganize themselves, just like right now, the mining companies reorganize themselves and relocate, and then things start to move up already. So the price start to move up from that point, 5,000, here we go, 7,000, and finally in December, we touch an all-time high of 19,000. This is what we have been preaching to all of you. The move may just come so fast. By then, while you're still scratching your head, you lost the opportunity. That's the reason why, I think Richard is leading the movement to really keep us planted on the idea that there's a foundation on Bitcoin already. But the next big move will happen exactly like this back in 2017. And that's the reason why this is such an important story to think about. I also want to highlight to our viewers here the latest article and the latest move by the Chinese. And this is coming up from South China Morning Post. China's Bitcoin crackdown. Beijing targets NGO backed by crypto tycoons and former regulators. All right. So even Huobi, the top 3 in China, is going to suspend Bitcoin mining services and sales of cryptocurrency mining equipment. So this is like kind of a really big story. And all this latest movement is headed by none other than the right-hand man of President Xi Jinping. And this is the man, you guys better remember who is he. He is the poster boy of the China-US trade war, Liu He. And this is a no-nonsense guy. He's a classmate of presidency, very, very trusted in the CCP. And right now he's leading the movement on the crackdown. And we kind of want to understand, is this crackdown similar to 2017 and the winter will pass through and the beautiful spring will come on board again? But looks like this time around, the crackdown is much more serious than just mining itself, because the crackdown on Chinese companies has also permeated through Wall Street. This is the latest, where we saw that China is cracking down on Bitcoin, on mining operations, as well on Chinese companies listed on Wall Street. So looks like they have a very, very clear plan. And this clear plan, there is a price to pay for it, because right now, everybody is saying that if you crack down so hard, not just on crypto, but also on public companies listed in the US, ladies and gentlemen, China is due to lose as much as 45 trillion in new capital flows by the year 2030. Now, that's something the Chinese need to think about when they need to compare between crackdown versus the amount of money stop flowing out. And, we try to connect the dots. We only lead to one conclusion, Richard, and this conclusion is kind of painful to think about, because people are already talking about it openly on YouTube. And I want to share this very, very important idea that perhaps China could invade Taiwan by the year 2027. And if this thesis is true, then we kind of check back, what did our founding fathers say about a potential invasion of Taiwan by the Chinese? And I'm going to kind of pull forward this video here. I want to encourage everybody to go and search for this video on YouTube. And what our founding father said about China invasion in Taiwan is that no American intervention if Taiwan is invaded. Taiwan is on its own. And if the Chinese want to whack Taiwan, and that is the real message that they sent out in the 100-year anniversary, then we jolly well better come and take a look at Google Earth right now. So this is Google Earth for us. And when we kind of look at Google Earth, we say we live in a beautiful planet. And what's the possibility of a China invasion of Taiwan? And we kind of zoom out to the place right here. And we going to have a kind of a good view to understand, wow, this is a real threat. And this threat is not just for fun, because we are seeing this major movement right here. And this is what we are talking about. It is just right across there. And this was also being conveyed in the 100-year anniversary by President Xi about the reunification of Taiwan as part of China. So we connected three important dots. Number one, there was a crackdown that started in 2017. Back then, the Chinese government is kind of scratching their head, do not know what's the idea about Bitcoin. And then along the way, on step number one, they got distracted. They say, okay, Bitcoin is so big, then we better do bigger than Bitcoin. Let's do the digital yuan. So they kind of distracted for the next 3 to 4 years, focusing on the launch of digital yuan. Step one. Step two, right now, they got clarity on the digital yuan. They start going after Bitcoin mining companies in China, kick them out. And they succeeded kicking them out. More than 90% of them have flown out of China. At the same time, they also start cracking down on Chinese companies listed on US soil. Best example, Didi, right now under fire. Another example, Alibaba, under fire. Tencent under fire. Every one of them under fire, right? So two things have happened already. Step number three, perhaps the dots are leading us to the idea that perhaps they want to take back Taiwan. This is a possibility, not doom and gloom, but it's a high possibility. Experts have already thought about this issue. And I'll just take the wise words from our founding father, Lee Kuan Yew. He says that, China will invade Taiwan and US will not do anything about it. And this is right now happening in our generation for us to watch what's going to happen. So, Richard, this is a really heavy tone right now.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Clemen. I want to bring you back again, right? That all this that you have mentioned, what is the impact to the price of the Bitcoin? Is it going up? Is it coming down? And what should individual, unsophisticated, ordinary investor do with all this information?
So that's a great question, Richard. What Richard is really asking us is that everything that we see here is kind of like an insider information. And the whole idea about making money is you always get in before the massive crowd or the massive audience come in and take part. That's the reason why we're talking about risk and reward. The person who take the first step of faith, you are thinking that you're embarking on a major risk. But the moment the world come and take over, that's where the price has already shot up. And by then it's too late for you to make a really nice big appreciation of your profits. So it's always a balancing act. But for all the series of videos that we've done so far, my question to the audience is that, hey, have you even created your wallet? Hey, is your wallet filled with Bitcoin? Hey, do you know how to deposit and withdraw your wallet coins? And these are fundamental stuff to deal with. And that's the reason why we want to get you guys really educated. And once you caught the fire, you will have the passion to go and find the answers to all these questions I just asked you. You will even know how to click faster than we do. So it's very important. The seed of fire must get started. And we are just telling you, hey, we've seen all these things. By the time the rest of the world comes, adoption is not by 2,000. Adoption is by the country level.
Wow.
And it's really taking place at the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And that's the reason why, Richard, we really take our hats off you, because you're leading us to this very, very important movement to rally our community.
Okay, good. Now, just to follow on Dr. Clemen question, like how many of you here already started with a Bitcoin wallet? Now, since it's the first time that we have invited guests here, if you have a Bitcoin wallet, in the chat group, can you type yes? So I know how many of you have Bitcoin wallet if you type yes. If you have already got a Bitcoin wallet, please at the chat group, type yes. Type yes. If you have a Bitcoin wallet, type yes. Now, on the other hand, I'm going to invite some of you. Yes, I see some yes. Yes, yes, Ivan, yes. Yeah. So if you have a Bitcoin wallet, type yes. Okay. Now, some of you have some question. We will pick a few questions after my next statement. If you will attempt to answer some of your question, right? Okay, good. Right. Now, those of you who have not got a Bitcoin wallet, and there's another question. How can I get involved in the Bitcoin festival? Let's go to that in a bit of time. Okay, many of you have Bitcoin wallet. Thank you very much. Okay, right now, we are organizing the Bitcoin festival. Now, I am very, 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 very positive about Bitcoin, and we are organizing the Bitcoin festival. It is a gathering of industrial expert and enthusiastic community of Bitcoin holder to update, promote, educate, and adoption of Bitcoin as a movement. Now, Dr. Clemen, what do you think of those who want to know more about Bitcoin and capitalize on this opportunity?
And Richard, this is a really important question, because what we are really aiming at right now is a very clear finishing line. And the finishing line is defined as this. From this moment onwards, leading to the Global Bitcoin Festival, there are many steps involved. Number one, the most important step involved is getting your passion really into understanding why this asset class will be the generation shift of wealth into your generation. So if you don't get this, no matter what we say, you won't get it. But how do you get it? Number two is you got to hang out with us. Start signing up for the Global Bitcoin Festival, participate in our activities. And, very soon, our team out here, we're going to launch several interesting activities for you to take part on, just to make sure that you really build up upon the foundation of understanding what Bitcoin is all about. And you have this nice little window of opportunity to seize it. And number three, on the day of the Global Bitcoin Festival itself, this is the big day. I think Richard will share with all of you the really big announcements coming out, the lineup of speakers, the think tanks, the thought leadership, and the visionaries. And most importantly, you see firsthand who are the Bitcoin whales on planet Earth. Thereby, you have a bigger psychology hanging down on you. Now, I understand most of you out there have fear, have greed, but your psychology is this small, but it can only be enlarged. You are standing on the shoulders of these giants. And that's why get early, ready right now. I hope to see you at the Global Bitcoin Festival.
Dr. Clemen, now I'm very, very positive about the future of Bitcoin as an instrument to create wealth, not for ourselves only, but for the generation to come. So we organize this Bitcoin movement because of our belief in Bitcoin as this very, very important asset class and instrument. Now, our goal is to have 10,000 to 100,000 participants in this festival, in this Bitcoin festival. And we really, really welcome you to join us in this movement. Now, till we meet again on the next video, this is Richard Tan, Dr. Clemen Chiang, and all from Success Resources. We want to wish you wealth, health, and happiness in your life. Till we see again.